In this video, I'm going to take you through all those options, so maybe you can come and live in Spain too. Let's have a look at the different type of visas first, because it may well be that there are other ways that you can come to live in Spain if you choose to do so, rather than going down the visa that we took. So we'll just run through those now. When I started looking up how to move to Spain from the UK post Brexit, it seemed like a bit of a minefield. But the one thing that I did find out fairly quickly was that if you have parents or grandparents who are EU nationals, and that includes Ireland, and that's not just Eire, that's Northern Ireland as well, it's the island of Ireland. If you have an Irish parent, or a Dutch or a German or French parent, or grandparent, you can't go any further back than grandparents. But if you are lucky enough to have one of those, then it's probably better to go down the route of getting your EU passport, because you're entitled to do that. I'll put a link in the description about how that all goes. So if you've got an Irish granny or granddad tucked away, or an EU grandparent, that might be the easiest route for you, so it's worth looking at. So let's talk about the visas. When I looked at the actual visa options, I found that there's I think it's 18 or 19 different visas that you can apply to allow you to come and stay in Spain. There's all sorts of visas that, short-term visas for nannies, for stopovers, for flight stopovers, shipping, but I kind of dismissed all of those because they only allow you to stay in Spain for up to 3 months. Yeah, something you get used to here in Spain, a wee barking dog. So anyway, so when I looked at it, there's only really 4 or 5 visas which I think allow you to stay long term in Spain. So I'm just going to quickly run through those and give you an overview of each of those, and you can see which one is right for you. So I'm going to start off with the big one that's in the news at the minute. Spain has had what's called a golden visa, and this basically allowed you to get your visa to stay here if you bought property of at least €500,000. You could effectively walk straight in. You bought the property and you had health insurance, that was you. Yeah, you're in. The Spanish government have now decided that it's not good for the economy, and they have announced that they're going to end that visa. The golden visa is being done away with for property purchase. The next one I want to talk about is a self-employed visa. They call it autonomo over here. Now, you can come to Spain and work for yourself, but when I looked at it, the conditions you have to meet seem quite draconian. You've got to prove how it benefits the Spanish economy and all that sort of stuff. So you can't just come and rock up here and set up as a painter and decorator or a hairdresser or something like that, because there's already that many of them here. So again, if you have got a specialist skill set, look into the self-employed visa. Maybe it worked for you, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't one that we considered. Next one to look at is a digital nomad visa. Now this is an interesting one, and it's certainly not well publicised, but this is a visa that allows people who, if you do all your work remotely from an office, so if you work for a company who is based outside of Spain, so anywhere in the UK, because we're primarily talking about the UK, but it would apply to any other non-EU countries. If you do all your work remotely using technology, so computers and telephones, etc., then you can apply for a digital nomad visa, and that allows you to live in Spain full time whilst working remotely for a company outside of Spain. So you may well be in a job that allows you to do that, and if your employer's happy for you to work anywhere, and given all the changes that happened after COVID, I don't imagine there'll be a lot of employers that will allow you to come full time, but there'll certainly be some out there. And if your employer is one of those forward-thinking people that doesn't mind where you work, then who knows? You could well benefit from the digital nomad visa. So again, have a look at it, see if it suits your needs, and then take it from there. The next one is an employee visa. Now, if you're lucky enough to have specialist skills, and I can only imagine that you need to be at the high end, something highly technical or scientific or something like that, but again, it's up to you to look into these things. You may well get an employee visa, and that's where a Spanish company wants you to come and work for them. The thing about this one is it's the company who applies for the visa, because they have to prove that they can't sort of fill that role locally. So it's they have to bring someone in from outside effectively to do that. So have a look at that one, an employee visa. If you've got some specialist skills and you're thinking of coming to Spain to live and work, it may well be for you, but again, do your research. Now the last one I'm going to talk about is the one that we have, and the one that most people seem to come to Europe on, and it's the non-lucrative visa. It's always called an NLV. So the NLV is the visa that you must not be working. You have to have shown that you've given up work. So if you're self-employed, you need to get a letter from the HMRC to say that you've wound up your company. If you work for someone, you need to get your P45 to show that you've finished work. And it's one of the first things that you really need to look into, because if you turn up at your appointment and you are still working, you're not going to get any further. We fell foul of that. We weren't aware of that because it wasn't on any of the checklists. So the fact that it's a non-lucrative visa, you have to prove that you're undertaking no gainful employment. You're allowed to have some passive income. You're allowed to have income from rentals, but it has to be all managed through a third-party company. You can't directly be involved in it on your own. So the non-lucrative visa is the one that most people, they call it a retirement visa, and technically it's not a retirement visa, but it's that you're not allowed to work. So it's worth noting that when you apply for your visa, effectively you're applying for the first part of a process that allows you to come and start, if you like, to live in Spain. The dates will all be on the card, and again I'll show it all. I'll put ours in so that you can have a look at it, what we did and how it works. But basically you'll be given 2 dates between which is the date you must enter Spain, and then when you come in, get your passport stamped, and then within 30 days you have to complete that process by registering for what's called your TIE card. Now that's a residence card, and when you get the TIE card, that's the one that allows you to stay for a year. So a lot of people don't realise that there's still work to be done once you get to Spain. It's not just as simple as rocking up with a visa and that's you for a year. So bear that in mind, that you've got to register for the TIE, but once you register for the TIE card, you go along, get your fingerprints taken. Then takes a few weeks for the card to be ready, and then you go and pick that card up, and then that's you've got your residence card. So you have to complete the process in Spain. So there you have it. That's all the possible visa options, or the grabbing the EU passport option that might help you come to live here in Spain if you're thinking about doing that. So hope you found that one useful. Remember to give it a wee thumbs up and subscribe. Subscription's totally free. It'll never cost you a penny. It just helps me grow the channel. So please subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you all in the next video. Hasta luego.